the Bay of Islands. It's one of those places where everybody has the love of the sea, but it wasn't until I actually left that I really appreciated how beautiful the area was. It's just one of those areas that you just want to come back to.
Whairangi, or the Bay of Islands, a subtropical paradise made up of 144 islands. The golden beaches, secluded coves, and abundant underwater life are just some of the reasons this area is one of the most popular tourist destinations in the country. But while it's the ultimate holiday destination for some, to me, it's home.
There's no other place I'd rather be than right here. I moved up from Te Kaha back in 2000. I was still at high school. And my dad's a cop, so he got a job up here. Followed him up here and found my girlfriend, who's now my wife, 5 kids later.
The Bay of Islands is made up of 260 square kilometres of tranquil bays and dramatic coastlines. And situated on the east coast of the Far North District, 60 k's northwest of Whangarei. With such, it's easier to see why this area is known as an adventurer's paradise.
The reason why I decided to work on a boat was your accommodation's paid for, your food's paid for, and you don't get any mail, so therefore no bills.
Jeez, slippery.
Don't wipe me out, butter.
I've seen this from afar and heard about it, but never
been on it?
Nah, never been on it.
2012 was the year I started here on the Artuka Thompson in the Bay of Islands. Just doing tourism sailings through the summer. Wasn't too keen on the tourism sailings, but when we went into youth season through the winter, that's where it all sort of kicked off for me, dealing with youth and teaching them the ways of the art.
But you fellas stay on here as well?
Yeah, bro.
And you take people out and they'll stay out here as well with you?
Yeah, man. Yeah. There's a lot more room down here than you think there is. We keep ourselves separated.
Yeah.
Because it's, you know, when you want to shut off, you got to shut off. So.
Yeah.
And when you're carrying kids, bro, they don't shut up, so. When you take your kids out sailing, a lot of them haven't even been out on a boat, let alone out for a week. Sort of day 3, day 4, you just watch this little like spark in their eye start up, you know?
Yeah, hoist away!
Oh, she's doing all the work, mate.
Just wait.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
That's probably the biggest buzz, is watching them sort of click on and sort of unlock their potential and realise that they are capable of a bit more.
You have days when you're cruising and you just feel like Captain Jack Sparrow?
Every day.
All the time.
Well, the way I think of it, bro, is we're part-time sailors, full-time pirates.
Yeah. Just need some rum now.
Oh, yeah. It's all teamwork driven on here, so because of our day and age with the cell phones and the computers and stuff, you know, they have a little bit of trouble talking to each other. So we spend the whole week building the team and then sort of letting them go with it, you know, with the ultimate goal of getting them to sail the ship home by themselves, and we just sort of kick back, drink coffee.
Oh, scary. How long those ones been with you fellas?
She's been with us for a few years. I think I first met her when she was about 14. Usually you see it all on the last 2 days, eh? You just watch the ahua change from stepping on the ship to being real conservative to sort of just out of their shell. Jump on, brother. Just like driving a car, except we're going way slower.
We're going very slow, so...
Yeah, easy.
It does start going that way. Right, now you can yell out, pass your foresail, pass your jibs.
Pass your foresail, pass your jibs.
That's it.
Cheer!
Job
Cheer,
done.
my guys!
Well, here our future leaders been. That's pretty much the nuts and bolts of it. I like unwrapping kids' cotton balls because they've all been wrapped up in cotton balls all their life. So you get to unwrap them a little bit and then they sort of freak out for a little bit and then you watch them sort of like, this is me.
This area is the ancestral home of Ngāpuhi, who use the waters in and around the Bay of Islands as their food basket. But as the population in this area has increased, the resources that sustain Māori for hundreds of years have started to dwindle.
There's a lot of people moving out of the cities and moving to small towns. A lot of people moving up north, diving all around here. Straight down there where that boat's coming through, that was our scallop bed right down there. It's kind of been decimated through dredging and just overfishing.
It's an issue local Māori know they need to lead the way on, if the moana life is to survive.
If we don't look after it, no one else is going to. And it's for the future. Otherwise, what's it going to be? A cesspit? You look at the water, but you won't be able to take anything because of the pollution. The whole coast in the north here, she's under siege, really.
I suppose a good place to start would be how long you've been here.
Born and bred, haven't been away, really. History-wise, 1880, 1890, Māori were the elite pearl divers, the strongest guys. They were the best seamen, and that was way back then, and the families are still here today, and one of them was my great-great-grandfather. So no one knows these people in these photos. We've asked and asked over the years. We believe that these photos are taken over in the Kaipara Harbour, and what they're doing here is picking rock oysters, which there's no Pacific oysters back then. My dad was a farmer, but I ended up doing oysters. There's something about it, so I passed it on to
DNA.
the son. And
It's in your blood. Is this the oyster drive-through? Just with this mean-ass barge, like, have you done dives and stuff on this, or like taking it outside of this inlet?
We have, yeah.
Parties?
Every now and again, yeah.
I've never seen an oyster farm up close, mate. Looks like some science fiction stuff.
They're feeding at the moment, so you can see how the shell's open. This one here, you can see it, shell's open, so it's actually feeding now. As the water's come back over them. And those oysters are about 14 months old.
Oh, can't get much fresher.
No, you won't get much fresher than that.
Normally got to pay for this sort of thing, bro.
like obviously around here, it gets a hiding in the way of seafood. So I've been harping on for years about the rahui, but I couldn't do it on my own. So the four marais got involved, and 3 years ago they put the rahui on starting in September, finish at the end of December. And just sitting here looking at all the small fish and that, I'm convinced that it's working. So we've had big input to try and keep the water as clean as we can for the future. It's not just because I'm an oyster farm. I've got two hats. There's one over here, commercial, and Māori over here.
Can you show me how to shuck it properly?
There's the hinge.
Yep.
The rock oyster, you always went in there. Pacific oysters.
Straight in there. Then the mussel on top.
Just leave her up.
After kina, this is my second favourite food in the entire world. You don't get sick of oysters.
We've always eaten them because we work on them every day. And like I say, if you want to eat them, they're right there.
That for me?
It's yours.
This is the only real reason I wanted to come here. Do you enjoy it?
I do. That's why I'm still here. And I'll sit here with my boots on and a loudspeaker or a rocking chair or whatever.
Of all the islands we've visited over this journey, the Bay of Islands is definitely the busiest. With its mild climate and endless beaches, it's a bit of a tourist mecca. But yeah, they're water people. Just that close proximity to all the islands, everything's real close, so it's quite special. And that love of the ocean is passed down from one generation to the next.
Growing up, we had the beaches, and just at the start of the school year, we'd have swimming races along the wharf. You'd have the other schools come over, lanes were set up out in the ocean, and we always had the advantage because we used to swim off the wharf all the time, and we just keep mentioning stingrays and sharks, and the other teams would be a little bit tentative of going in the water. Mum was a Shropshire lass and Dad was from Devon, and they sailed out here after the war in 1952. Dad was invited up here to become a skipper for Fullers. They had a skipper that went down sick, and they're all going, "Oh, what are we going to do?" And she said, "Oh, I can do it." And they all went, "What? A female drive the boat?" First commercial female skipper on the passenger ferry in Russell, and that was probably in 1967. My mum was very well known up here. She actually paved the way for a lot of female skippers up here.
Hey,
Hello.
how's it going?
How you doing?
I'm Troy.
Troy, yes. Taylor. Huge shoes to fill to follow her completely, but I managed to get my skipper's ticket. She got to see me grow from driving the ferry right up to actually skippering the big boats out to the hole in the rock. So it was a huge emotional thing for her. And she was like 3. She already knew how to snorkel because we had her in the bathtub. The master snorkel, she'd be about 3 hours in there and you'd be blue.
The visibility isn't that great, but you can still see heaps of everything.
Showing off and being proud of an area, you've got to have a love for it. With the kinna, it's quite cool because you're teaching people about them because you're feeding the fish, and they are the main source of iron before Europeans brought along meat. Kids that have grown up in the area have that passion to show it off as well. And of course there's that pride coming through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Māori history in the Bay of Islands goes back all the way to the great voyager Kupe, who landed his waka here and gave it the name Aotearoa. But it's also significant to our more recent history.
On this spot was erected in the year 1840 the first official signal flagstaff after the signing of the Treaty of Waitangi. Owing, however, to misunderstanding between the two races, the original flagstaff was cut down by the Maoris on July the 8th, 1844. And I don't know how many times that have been chopped down before it got to this one, but I think it's always been a kind of symbol of colonialism. Hence why they were chopping that flagpole down that many times.
The bones of generations of Ngāpuhi whānau lay on these islands. But these days, Māori ownership on all but one of the islands has been lost.
The treaty should be really changing to how it originally was supposed to be. The partnership is not there.
Probably somewhere to start is this place that we're at now, what does that mean to you?
My name is Moka Kangamata Puru. I was named after my tipuna that was here in those early years to sign the treaty. And I suppose I carry the same wairua he had, because for the last 11 years we've been fighting the Crown for our rights here. I didn't worry about the treaty until I got married. My mother-in-law was a big land protester, Finna Cooper, and that's
That's
how...
your mother-in-law? Holy heck.
And that's how I got involved. When I was young and stupid and all that, and I went to stay with her. She talked about the land issues. She changed my whole life.
There's a reason why they call this place Bay of Islands, because there's a shitload of islands.
Grew up in Rafty, and Urupupu Island was the nearest shop. So we used to row across it. The first chap that was here was a sword fisherman, and then he built the shop around himself. All the weighing in of these swordfishers came into this bay. They're coming in, they weigh out, and next we see them going out. And I said, oh, there they go, they're going to dump. They dump them. So we row out and pick it up.
It's bloody steep. Should have wore better shoes than gumboots, I think.
Growing up as a boy, we were happy here. We didn't know anything else, only what you had around you. The whole place was full of food. I mean, you had to be lazy to starve.
We've come up this hill here, and I feel like your joints are probably better than mine. But why did we come up this far?
The last time I came up here, they had big signs up here where my ancestors were buried.
Are you fighting for this place at the moment?
Yeah, we're still going through our claims. We're waiting for the tribunal's report. And we've asked the judge. He said, oh, it shouldn't be too long now, it shouldn't be too long. But we'll be all dead by the time it never comes out. Somewhere along the line, our young people will have to find a way of getting that done. They got the education now to do it. So it's up to them. Well, they used to have sheep on this island, but everybody wants to come back here and get buried.
Everyone wants to be here now. It's the cool thing to be on Urupuku.
Maybe that's the only way to get it back.
Just
Start
keep bringing your bones
back
over
on
here.
the
Yeah,
island. I haven't had that exercise for a long time.
yeah. No, well, that's your exercise for the year. Have a rest.
Pewhairangi, the Bay of Islands, is hailed as being the winterless north and known for having the second bluest sky in the world. But you wouldn't know it from the dark clouds today. The descendants of these islands still have a deep connection to the whenua that sustained them for hundreds of years, and a deep desire to protect them for future generations.
The people before us that were on the islands, we tie through them through our bones. Our past is still embedded on that island. That's a real Māori side of us, to restore those islands to what they used to see. I belong to the islands, I think. Always with that connection to them. Probably be hard to break me away from it.
And how long you been living up in this area?
I've been up here most of my life. I was young when we first came up from the South Island. Sort of got connected with those islands straight away and never forgot it and never turned back. So every trap system that we've got on the islands at the moment, they're all with the humane kill trap in it. So it's just baited with a standard chuki egg with a bit of peanut butter on the top.
What are your many jobs that you do around the place?
I do have many jobs around the islands and on the mainland. I mean, I am the local fire chief. Another one is as a kaitiaki for Ngāti Kota for the fisheries side. I mean, all my jobs all tie in together as being one of the kaitiaki for Rafti. Biggest ones that I've got is the pest control.
Is there any ecosystem that needs a rat?
There was one question if we were to bring back the kiori. And we all said no, even though that we knew that was native.
Who cares?
Yeah.
It's still a rat.
Definitely the improvement on the islands is a bonus. You walk around every day, you You can hear the difference and see the difference with trees growing, birds chirping that you've never heard here in the Bay of Islands before.
Can you tell me some of the buzziest things you've found in your travels?
Being on the islands and being involved with the islands gives you a lot of historical history. There's archaeology right across the islands. So if we find koiwi on the island, we get involved in it with the local dock officers and Heritage New Zealand, and we remove it from the places that it's been exposed from and take it to places where it's going to be at peace. Yeah. And then we pick up a lot of tonga with the miles and miles that we walk every year. Yeah, these are a lot of the stones that we've found around the islands and some on the mainland.
Do you think there's greenstones from down the line, or?
That's the part of the mission for me, is to find out each stone, what it is, where it may have come from and who may have brought it here. I'd love to get the chance to restore a couple of those past sites to their original state. So putting up all the palisades and carvings, all the housing back on it, and have people walk over those sites, giving them the acknowledgement of what was there, some little snapshot into the past. Giving back to what's been taken, I care about it a lot, because it's been passed on through my family as caretakers for those islands in Kaitiaki. It's just something that you just carry on.
And that connection back to Māori history seems to be a driving theme here in Pewhairangi.
As we go out here, you've got those two islands here. This one here is part of the homeland.
And while the memory of being forced off the island is still relatively fresh in colonial terms, local hapu are still doing everything they can to protect this whenua.
We had a house here. We had everything we wanted. We as a whānau didn't want to sell. One American multi-millionaire came out and offered £12,000 for a small island, and that's how they got the valuations. Because of $12,000 rates, it went up, it rocketed 1,000%. For us, your valuation would have made it uneconomic. You couldn't have survived. That's how they got it. Well, I was born and bred from here. All as you see up here were all gardens. And this place was full of fish. You can get crayfish just out the point here. They were everywhere. So this is actually where we do our wānanga for the biodiversity.
When did you start these wānanga? How long has it been going for?
On this island, they started at the start of winter.
Okay.
But it all starts with a kōrero on the red muki. Spear fishermen, they all go after the red muki because it comes right up to you, hey, easy target. But the great thing about the red muki is when you are repatriating or trying to re-diversify a reef, they're essential to their kaka. When they drop their kaka on the huarahi, it is the vegetation that they have processed that they'll now takes. So it is. We should really not be taking those for that reason. Just that is the very first story that I tell. Everyone wants to go see the red muki now. Well, what they actually get to see is the devastation of this island. You heard Matu, how he spoke about how beautiful it was, how plentiful it was with the kai. But then I go show them now how it is, and it's just kind of barrens. There is an understanding of photosynthesis that our young ones get to learn. Because in the moana, the undoing of the devastation is to encourage the photosynthesis to work better. That actually encourages our haimoana to spawn.
The land and the sea work together. It's like a circle. What you take out, you must put back. And you must look after your whenua. A lot of guys can't get their head around it. You know, they think you live for today and forget tomorrow. You don't. You got to think. You live a legacy, not a liability. That's what it's all about. Hopefully we have a better tomorrow now for our mokupunas.
My time travelling around the Bay of Islands has been a real journey of discovery. Even though I've called this area home for more than half my life, hearing this kōrero has opened my eyes to some of the issues facing the Bay of Islands.
How these guys live, I think of it as true Māori out here. And it's good to know that these fellas out here are the kaitiaki of the Bay of Islands, making sure everything was going good on the islands.
They are the ahika, the protectors, fighting hard for this place to preserve what's left for future generations.